Have you ever been disrespected so badly that your blood boiled? Maybe it was a sly insult, a humiliating comment in front of others, or a blatant act of disregard. And in that moment, you felt an overwhelming urge to respond, to defend yourself, to fire back, to prove them wrong. But what if I told you that reacting is exactly what they want? Every insult is a bait. The moment you snap, they win. Because now, your emotions are in their control. They've pulled your strings like a puppet, making you dance to their tune. But what if instead of reacting, you stayed silent? Imagine this. Someone hurls an insult at you in front of everyone, expecting you to lash out. But you don't. You just stare. No reaction. No defense. Just pure, unshakable silence. Suddenly, the room shifts. The power they thought they had over you, gone. The words they thought would break you, now hanging awkwardly in the air. And them? They're the ones feeling exposed, desperate to justify themselves. Silence is a weapon more powerful than any words. And in this video, I'll show you why the wisest and most powerful people in history, especially the Stoics, understood that saying nothing is often the strongest response. By the time you finish this video, you'll have a completely new perspective on handling disrespect. You'll learn exactly why silence is the most devastating response and how to use it to shift power in your favor every single time. So stay with me till the end, because what you're about to learn will change the way people treat you forever. Disrespect is a test of your emotions, your self-control, and most importantly, your power. But most people fail this test without even realizing it. Think about the last time someone insulted you. Maybe they called you weak, questioned your intelligence, or dismissed your ideas like they were nothing. How did you respond? Did you fire back with an insult of your own? Did you try to prove them wrong? Did you let anger take over? If you did, you played right into their hands. And you see, people who disrespect you aren't looking for the truth. They don't care about reason. Their goal is simple: to get a reaction. Because the moment you react, you've already lost. Your emotions are no longer yours. You've let them control how you feel, how you act, and ultimately, how others see you. The ancient Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You always have the power of not having an opinion. Keep your peace, and things will take their own course." In other words, if you refuse to react, you strip disrespect of its power. You rob the insult of its effect. And most importantly, you prove that you are in control, not them. This is why staying silent after disrespect isn't weakness, it's dominance. It's an art, a strategy, a way of handling conflict that immediately shifts power in your favor. And in this video, you'll learn exactly how to master this skill. I'll take you through 9 powerful lessons, each revealing a different side of silence, why it works, how it dismantles your enemies, and how you can use it to command respect without saying a single word. By the time we're done, you won't just understand why silence is the strongest response. You'll know how to use it in real life, effortlessly. Let's get into it. Lesson 1. The illusion of control. Why they want you to react. Have you ever noticed how some people provoke others just to see them lose control? It happens in arguments, in workplaces, in relationships, everywhere. They say something cruel, something unfair, and then wait, watching for your reaction. Why? Because your reaction tells them everything. It tells them they got under your skin. It tells them you care too much about their words. It tells them that, in that moment, they have power over you. And that's exactly why they do it. The moment you respond with anger, frustration, or even just defensiveness, you give them validation. They've successfully dictated your emotions. You might think you're standing up for yourself, but in reality, you've just confirmed their influence over you. This is why the greatest form of power is control over yourself. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "He who angers you conquers you." Think about that. Every time you allow someone to push your buttons to make you act out of emotion, they've conquered a part of you. They've won, and that's exactly what they wanted. Now imagine a different scenario. Imagine someone insults you in front of others, expecting you to lash out. But instead, you just stare at them. No reaction, no anger, no attempt to defend yourself. Silence. Suddenly, the dynamic changes. The tension grows, but not for you, for them. They expected a fight. They expected an emotional outburst, but what they got was nothing. Now they're the ones feeling uncomfortable. Now they're the ones scrambling to justify their words. And this is the power of silence. It forces the aggressor to confront their own words, their own actions, without you needing to lift a finger. How to apply this in real life? The next time someone tries to get a reaction out of you, pause. Take a deep breath. Say nothing. Hold their gaze if necessary, but do not respond emotionally. It will be uncomfortable at first. You might feel the urge to fight back, to defend yourself. But resist it, because the moment you master the ability to stay silent in the face of disrespect, you'll notice something incredible. People will start respecting you more, because true power isn't in words. It's in control. Lesson 2. Silence forces them to reveal their true intentions. When someone disrespects you, their goal isn't always obvious. Are they testing your patience? Are they trying to provoke you for entertainment? Or are they simply insecure, using insults as a mask for their own weakness? Here's the truth. Most people who disrespect you don't expect silence. They expect you to fight back, to defend yourself, to lose control. When you don't, something interesting happens. They expose themselves, and think about it. When you stay quiet, they're left with their own words hanging in the air. Suddenly, their insult isn't a weapon anymore. It's a reflection of their character. A person who insults others to feel powerful? They'll scramble, trying to justify their behavior. A person who disrespects you out of insecurity? They'll become uneasy because now their true emotions are exposed. A person who simply made a mistake? They'll realize their error and feel the weight of their words. And all of this happens because of one thing: you didn't react. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This means that when someone tries to pull you into their negativity, the strongest move isn't to fight them. It's to show through your silence that you're above it. A real-life example. Picture this. You're in a meeting, and a colleague rudely dismisses your idea in front of everyone. They smirk, expecting you to argue, to justify yourself, to get flustered, but instead, you just look at them. No words, no defense, just silence. What happens next? That silence becomes heavy, the room shifts, the disrespect is now theirs to own, and without your reaction to dilute it, it lingers, making them look bad instead of you. By staying quiet, you flip the entire power dynamic. How to apply this in real life? The next time someone disrespects you, don't react immediately. Instead, observe, watch them, see how they handle the silence. You'll be surprised. Most people can't handle their own negativity being reflected back at them. The more you practice this, the more you'll start noticing a pattern. People will hesitate before speaking badly to you. Why? Because they'll remember that when they tried before, they only made themselves look foolish. And just like that, without a single word, you've won. Lesson 3. The strongest people speak the least. Look at the most powerful people in history. The leaders, the thinkers, the warriors. They don't waste their words. They don't argue over petty things. They don't let their emotions control them. Why? Because they understand that power isn't about being the loudest. It's about being the most composed. Weak people talk too much. They explain, defend, overreact. But strong people? They let their presence do the talking. When someone disrespects you, they expect to pull you into a battle of words. But if you refuse to engage, if you hold your silence, something happens. They start feeling uncomfortable. The moment you stop reacting, they start overthinking. Did I go too far? Why aren't they saying anything? Or are they planning something? Now, instead of you being in your emotions, they're trapped in theirs. And all it took was your refusal to play their game. What the Stoics taught about silence, Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "If someone speaks ill of you, do not make excuses, but say, He was ignorant of my other faults, or else he would not have mentioned these alone. This means that when someone insults you, it's not your job to explain yourself. It's not your job to argue. Let them say what they want. Their words don't define you, but your response or lack of one defines you. A real-life example. Imagine you're walking down the street and a stranger shouts an insult at you. You have two choices: turn around and argue, wasting your time and energy on someone who doesn't matter. Keep walking, unaffected, showing them that their words mean nothing to you. The weak man chooses the first option. The strong man chooses the second. Which one are you? How to apply this in real life. Next time someone disrespects you, pause. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, does this person's opinion truly matter? Will arguing change their mind? Is my silence a stronger response? Most of the time, you'll realize that silence is the ultimate proof of strength. And once you master it, you'll start noticing something interesting. People will start choosing their words more carefully around you. Because now, they know you're not someone who can be easily manipulated. You're someone who understands the power of silence. Lesson 4. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates power. People fear what they don't understand, and nothing confuses a person more than someone who doesn't react the way they expect. Think about it. When someone insults you, they expect anger. When they push your buttons, they expect a response. When they challenge you, they expect a fight. But when you give them nothing, just pure, calm silence, they don't know what to do. Their mind starts racing. Did they not hear me? Do they not care? Are they planning something? And suddenly the power shifts. Now, instead of you overthinking what they said, they are overthinking your reaction, or lack of one. The Stoic Art of Mystery. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions." What does this mean? It means that the less people know about what drives you, what upsets you, what makes you tick, the more power you hold over them. A person who talks too much exposes themselves. They reveal their emotions, their thoughts, their weaknesses. But a person who remains silent, they remain unpredictable. And unpredictability is intimidating. A real-life example. Think of the most powerful figures in history. The great leaders, the warriors, the masterminds. None of them wasted their words. None of them felt the need to explain themselves. They spoke only when necessary. And because of that, when they did speak, people listened. Now imagine applying that same principle in your daily life. Imagine holding back your words, choosing them carefully, and only speaking when absolutely necessary. Do you think people would start treating you differently? Absolutely, because silence isn't just a lack of words. It's a message. A powerful, unshakable message that tells the world, I am in control. How to apply this in real life? The next time someone tries to provoke you, don't give them the reaction they expect. Instead, look at them. Say nothing. Let the silence hang in the air. You'll be shocked at how quickly the power shifts in your favor. Because silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's the presence of power. Lesson 5. When you stay silent, you force others to doubt themselves. Most people who disrespect you aren't as confident as they seem. They rely on your reaction to validate their behavior. They need you to get upset, to argue, to defend yourself, because that tells them they were right to attack you. But when you say nothing, when you don't give them the satisfaction of a reaction, you plant a seed of doubt in their mind. Suddenly, they start questioning themselves. Did I go too far? Why aren't they reacting? Do they know something I don't? And that doubt, it eats away at them. The Stoic power of self-control. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that the real battle isn't between you and the person disrespecting you. It's between you and your own emotions. If you control your reaction, you control the entire situation. A real-life example. Imagine you're in a heated argument with someone. They insult you, trying to get under your skin. Most people would immediately fire back, escalating the situation. But what if you didn't? What if instead of arguing, you just looked at them? Calm, emotionless, silent. Now, instead of fueling their confidence, you're making them uncomfortable. They expected resistance, but all they got was a wall of silence. Now, they are the ones feeling exposed. How to apply this in real life? Next time someone tries to provoke you, take a deep breath. Hold your silence. Let them fill the awkward space with their own words. You'll see something interesting. Most people will either backtrack, try to justify themselves, or even apologize. Because when you stay silent, you don't just win the argument, you make them question if there was ever a fight to begin with. Lesson 6. The more you speak, the more power you lose. Most people believe that when they're disrespected, they need to explain themselves. They need to argue, defend, or prove their worth. But the truth is, the more you talk, the weaker you seem. And why? Because excessive words reveal insecurity. When you over-explain, you show that you care too much about what others think. When you argue aggressively, you show that you lack control over your emotions. When you try too hard to prove your point, you show that you need validation. And once people see this, they know they've already won. The Stoic principle of restraint. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." In other words, don't talk, demonstrate. A confident person doesn't need to prove themselves with words. They let their actions speak for them. A real-life example. Imagine someone calls you weak. The average person would immediately say, "I'm not weak, I've done this, I've accomplished that," all in an effort to prove their strength. But the strong man? He doesn't say a word. Why? Because he knows who he is. He doesn't need to convince anyone. His presence, his actions, his silence, that is proof enough. How to apply this in real life? Next time you feel the urge to argue, stop. Ask yourself, am I trying to prove something? Does this person's opinion even matter? Would silence make me seem stronger? More often than not, silence is the better response, because true power doesn't beg for recognition. It commands it. Lesson 7. Silence turns their own words against them. When someone disrespects you, they expect resistance. They want an argument, a debate, a reaction, because that gives them something to fight against. But when you say nothing, when you refuse to engage, their own words start working against them. They realize they've been speaking into a void. Their insult, which was meant to trigger you, now feels empty. And without your reaction to fuel the fire, the insult starts reflecting back on them. They become the one looking foolish. The Stoic tactic of reversal. Seneca once said, "A wise man is content with his own approval." This means that you don't need to respond to criticism. You don't need to fight back. Let them speak, because in time, their own words will expose them. A real-life example. Imagine you're at work and a colleague makes a sarcastic remark about your skills in front of others. They smirk, waiting for you to defend yourself. But instead of arguing, you just look at them. You hold the silence. Now suddenly, their words sound harsher than they intended. Without your reaction to justify their behavior, they look like the one who's out of line. The room shifts. People start looking at them, not you. And just like that, without saying a single word, you've won. How to apply this in real life? Next time someone insults you, resist the urge to defend yourself. Instead, try this. Pause. Let their words settle in the air. Look at them, no reaction, no anger, just calm, collected silence. Watch what happens. 9 times out of 10, they'll either feel embarrassed, soften their approach, or try to explain themselves. Because silence isn't just the absence of words, it's a mirror. It forces people to face their own behavior. And when you master this, you'll realize something powerful. Most people defeat themselves when given enough time. Lesson 8. The one who controls their emotions controls the situation. Disrespect is designed to trigger you. It's meant to make you emotional, to throw you off balance, to pull you into a reaction. But the moment you let your emotions take over, you give away your power. Because when you react out of anger, frustration, or insecurity, you are no longer in control. The person who provoked you is. But if you master your emotions, if you refuse to let disrespect shake you, you become unstoppable. The Stoic philosophy of emotional control Epictetus taught, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. Think about that. If someone can make you react, they own you in that moment. They have power over you. But what if you trained yourself to stay calm, to remain unmoved, no matter what is said to you? Now you control the situation. You dictate the outcome. You remain untouchable. A real-life example. Imagine two people arguing. One is yelling, losing control, throwing insults. The other, completely calm, collected, unshaken. Who looks stronger? Who looks more powerful? It's always the person who remains in control. Now imagine you apply this to every situation in your life, at work, in relationships, in confrontations. Imagine never letting anyone dictate your emotions again. That's real power. How to apply this in real life? The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Feel the emotions rising, but don't act on them. Breathe. A deep breath creates space between you and your reaction. Say nothing. Silence is the ultimate proof of self-mastery. When you do this, you send a message, one that says, I am not controlled by others. I am in charge of myself. And when people realize they can't shake you, they start respecting you. Because true strength isn't in fighting back, it's in never needing to. Lesson 9. Silence is a power move, not weakness. Many people mistake silence for weakness. They think that if you don't respond to disrespect, it means you're afraid or unsure of yourself. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Silence isn't submission, it's strategy. It's control. It's the ultimate way to flip the power dynamic in your favor. Because when you refuse to engage in someone's negativity, you force them to confront their own words. You make them uncomfortable. You expose their need for attention. And most importantly, you show that their words don't define you. The Stoic mastery of restraint, Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This means that real power isn't about controlling what others say or do. It's about controlling yourself. When you stay silent, you're proving that no one else dictates your emotions. You're proving that you don't need validation from anyone. And that level of self-mastery, it's rare, it's intimidating, it's what makes people respect you. A real-life example. Imagine a king sitting on his throne. A man bursts into the room, shouting insults. The king doesn't react. He doesn't argue. He doesn't even acknowledge the man's words. Why? Because he doesn't need to. His power is already established. His silence is his response. And that silence says everything. Now imagine applying that same level of composure in your own life. Imagine holding back when someone disrespects you, not out of fear, but out of strength. Imagine watching as their frustration grows while you remain completely unbothered. That's what it means to be truly powerful. How to apply this in real life? The next time someone tries to test you, remember this. Weak people react, strong people observe. Weak people argue, strong people stay calm. Weak people let emotions control them. Strong people control their emotions. And when you master the power of silence, you'll realize something profound. Most battles don't need to be fought. They're won the moment you refuse to engage. Lesson 10. The fear of your silence is greater than the power of your words. People aren't afraid of what you say, they're afraid of what they don't know. When you respond to an insult with words, you reveal your emotions. You show them exactly how you feel. You let them measure your level of anger, frustration, or insecurity. But when you stay silent, they have no idea what you're thinking, no idea how you're feeling, no idea what you might do next. And that uncertainty, that mystery, it's far more intimidating than any argument you could ever make. The Stoic power of unpredictability, Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that your greatest weapon is your ability to control how you respond to adversity. The less predictable you are, the more powerful you become. If people know exactly what to expect from you, they can manipulate you. But if they can't read you, if they don't know whether you're angry, amused, or completely indifferent, they'll tread carefully. A real-life example. Picture this. Someone insults you in a group setting. Instead of firing back, you just look at them. Calm, composed, saying nothing. Now the pressure is on them. Everyone else is watching. They expected a fight, a reaction. But instead they see you standing firm, unshaken. And suddenly the person who insulted you is left looking foolish. Because now people aren't questioning you, they're questioning them. Why did they feel the need to insult you? Why do they look so desperate for a reaction? Why aren't you bothered by their words? Your silence has now turned the situation completely in your favor. How to apply this in real life? The next time someone disrespects you, pause. Instead of reacting, observe. Let the silence hang and watch as their confidence fades, because words can be forgotten. But the impact of an unreadable, unshakable presence, that stays with people forever. Lesson 11. The strongest response is no response. Most people believe that when they're disrespected, they need to do something, argue, defend, explain, or even retaliate. But in reality, the most powerful response isn't action, it's inaction. Because when you refuse to engage, you send a message far louder than any words: you are not worth my energy. And that is the ultimate insult. The Stoic art of non-reaction. Seneca once wrote, "A great man is not disturbed by what is beneath him." In other words, if an insult doesn't deserve your attention, why waste your breath? Weak people need to respond. They need validation. They need the last word. But strong people? They don't need to prove anything. Their silence speaks for them. A real-life example. Imagine someone posts a nasty comment about you online. Most people would feel the urge to reply, to defend themselves, to set the record straight. But what happens if you ignore it, if you don't even acknowledge it? Suddenly they look desperate. They look like they're shouting into the void, craving attention while you remain untouchable. And that's what silence does. It reveals who truly holds the power. How to apply this in real life? Next time someone insults you, ask yourself, do they deserve my response? Will arguing change anything? Would silence make me look stronger? More often than not, the answer will be clear. Because the moment you stop responding to negativity, you prove that it never had power over you in the first place. And that is real strength. Lesson 12. The power of making them wait for your words. When you speak immediately after being disrespected, you give the other person control. They set the pace. They provoke. You react. They insult. You defend. But what if you flip the script? What if instead of rushing to respond, you made them wait? Because in that waiting, in that silence, tension builds. And suddenly, they are the ones feeling anxious. The Stoic mastery of deliberate speech. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Give yourself time to learn before speaking, and when you do, speak only what is necessary." This means that the more intentional you are with your words, the more impact they have. If you respond too quickly, your words are driven by emotion. But if you pause, if you take your time, your words become measured, controlled, powerful. A real-life example. Imagine someone insults you in a meeting. Everyone turns to see how you'll respond. But instead of firing back immediately, you take a slow breath. You let a few seconds pass. You make eye contact, calm and composed. And then when you do speak, your words come out clear, strong, and precise. Now, instead of a heated exchange, you've created authority. You've made it clear that you are in control, not just of your words, but of the entire situation. How to apply this in real life? Next time someone provokes you, pause. Count to 3 in your head. Let them feel the weight of your silence. Then, if necessary, speak, but only after you've decided exactly what message you want to send. Because when you control your words, you control how people perceive you. And the more carefully you choose them, the more powerful you become. Lesson 13. When you stay silent, you force them to reveal themselves. Most people don't realize this, but when you refuse to react, you're not just protecting your energy, you're exposing theirs. Because when someone disrespects you, their words are often a reflection of their own insecurities. An arrogant person insults others to hide their self-doubt. An insecure person mocks you to feel superior. A jealous person criticizes because they want what you have. But here's the trick. You don't have to do anything to expose this. You just have to stay silent and let them keep talking. Because the longer they speak, the more they reveal about themselves. The Stoic art of self-exposure, Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." This means that if people underestimate you, let them. If they insult you, let them. If they talk too much, let them. Because in doing so, they show the world exactly who they are. A real-life example. Imagine two people arguing. One is calm, saying little. The other is ranting, shouting, making a scene. Who looks foolish? Who looks weak? Always the one who can't control themselves. By staying silent, you allow people to expose their own character. And once they do, you don't have to do anything, because they've already lost. How to apply this in real life? When someone insults you, say nothing. When someone tries to bait you into a reaction, don't give them one. When someone talks too much, let them keep going, because in the end, those who talk the most reveal the most. And those who say the least, they remain the ones in control. Lesson 14. Silence makes them crave your validation. Human nature is simple. People want attention. They want to be heard, acknowledged, and validated. And when you don't give them that validation, when you stay silent instead, it drives them crazy because suddenly they start questioning themselves. Why aren't they responding? Did I say something wrong? Do they not respect me enough to reply? And that doubt, that craving for your attention, it puts you in control. The Stoic principle of detachment, or Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears." This means that the moment you stop reacting to people, they stop having power over you. You become untouchable. But here's where it gets interesting. When you remove your attention from someone, they want it more. People crave what they can't have. And if they can't have your reaction, your approval, or your engagement, they start chasing it. A real-life example. Have you ever ignored a text message only to have the person follow up again and again? That's because silence is psychologically unsettling. People don't like feeling ignored. And the more you hold your silence, the more they seek your attention. Now imagine applying this in every situation. When someone insults you, you ignore it. When someone disrespects you, you don't acknowledge them. When someone expects a reaction, you give them nothing. Suddenly, you become the one in control. How to apply this in real life? Next time someone tries to provoke you, ignore them. If someone is desperate for your attention, make them earn it. If someone wants validation from you, let them feel your silence instead. Because silence doesn't just protect your energy, it makes people crave what they can't get. And in a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, the person who speaks the least holds the most power. Lesson 15. Silence creates psychological discomfort, and that's your advantage. Silence is uncomfortable. It forces people to sit with their own thoughts, their own insecurities, and their own words. That's why, when you stay quiet after someone disrespects you, the discomfort doesn't hit you. It hits them. Because now, instead of feeding off your reaction, they're left in an awkward void, questioning themselves. Did I go too far? Why aren't they saying anything? Are they planning something? And that uncertainty, it eats away at their confidence. The Stoic use of psychological discomfort. Epictetus once said, "When someone criticizes you, remember that they are not judging you, but their own perception of you." This means that when people try to bring you down, it's not about you. It's about them. And when you stay silent, you force them to confront their own insecurities. A real-life example. Imagine two fighters in a ring. One is taunting, shouting insults, trying to get inside the other's head. But the other? He just stands there, calm, silent, unshaken. Who do you think is in control? The moment you stop reacting to provocation, the other person starts feeling the weight of their own actions. They need your reaction to feel powerful, and when they don't get it, they start unraveling. How to apply this in real life? Next time someone disrespects you, try this. Say nothing. Let the silence sit. Watch their reaction. Most people can't handle it. Enjoy the shift. The moment they start second-guessing themselves, you've already won. Because when people expect conflict and you give them nothing, their own thoughts become their worst enemy. And in that moment, you hold all the power. Lesson 16. Silence is the ultimate form of self-respect. At the core of it all, silence isn't just a strategy. It's a reflection of your self-worth. Because the way you respond to disrespect isn't about them, it's about you. Do you value yourself enough to walk away from petty conflict? Do you respect yourself enough to stay composed in the face of insults? Do you have the discipline to remain unshaken when others try to provoke you? When you stay silent, you're sending a message, not just to others, but to yourself. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. The Stoic truth about self-respect, Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This means that nothing has the power to disturb you unless you allow it to. Insults? They mean nothing unless you take them personally. Disrespect? It only affects you if you give it attention. Negative people? They only have control if you let them inside your mind. A real-life example. Imagine two versions of yourself. One version argues, gets emotional, and wastes energy on people who don't matter. The other remains calm, composed, and unfazed, choosing silence over unnecessary conflict. Which version do you respect more? But the answer is obvious. How to apply this in real life? The next time someone tries to insult you, remember your worth. Ask yourself, is this worth my time, my energy, my peace? If the answer is no, stay silent. Move on. Protect your mind. Because the highest form of self-respect is knowing when to say nothing at all. And when you truly master this, no one, not an insult, not a person, not even life itself, will ever be able to shake you again. Why this changes everything. If you've made it this far, you now understand something most people never will. True power isn't in words, it's in restraint. Silence isn't passive, it's active. It's a choice, a weapon, a strategy. And if you apply these lessons in your life, you'll notice something incredible. People will start treating you with more respect. Those who seek to provoke you will hesitate. Your presence alone will command attention without you needing to say a word. Because in a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, the one who speaks the least holds the most power. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember this. You don't need to react. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove anything. All you need to do is stay silent and watch as the world adjusts to your presence. And now I have a question for you. What's the worst situation where you had to stay silent? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear your insights. And if this message resonated with you, hit the like button so that more people can discover this wisdom. We've only scratched the surface of Stoic mastery. In an upcoming video, I'll reveal a powerful mental trick that can instantly neutralize negativity. So make sure you're subscribed. Until next time, stay strong, stay composed, and remember, your silence is your power.